to be very much listening to what you want. It's our goal to help provide you the tools to eat as healthy as you possibly can on the meals that you are eating on your own that do not include the dining service. And I know in just conversations through the hall, people also want to find ways to eat as healthy as they can through your food here. So we don't know exactly how to address that, but I kind of feel like there's power in coming together as a group. And so who knows what ideas will come as we go through this on how to make those foods as healthy as possible.
Okay, so to get started today, I have a quick little board. It's just brief things about the Mediterranean diet here, but I'm going to touch on a few of the benefits, and then we'll go through and we'll try to build the pyramid together, see our base of knowledge, and go from there. So we know that the Mediterranean diet, there's tons of research on it out there. That's why here at Butterfield Trail we focus on it. It increases your heart health, it boosts brain health. It's good for your gut microbiome too, because you're eating such a wide variety of all your fruits and vegetables, your whole grains. It keeps you agile because it helps reduce inflammation in all of your humors. It also is going to help regulate your cholesterol because you'll be consuming healthy fats. It's going to help regulate your blood sugar as well. And they've also found links to helping with Alzheimer's too, so we'll get more in depth with that later. But it may also help ease pain because that's going to be in the reduction of inflammation that you're going to feel. So over here, I have the pyramid, and this is what we want to eat the least of, and then going to what we should eat in a large amounts. So does anyone have an idea of what we want to try to eliminate on the Mediterranean diet, or eat maybe once, twice a month? Sugar. That's perfect. That's one of them. And there's one other one. Does anybody know? Not carbs. Carbs aren't bad. They're going to be your energy source.
Red meat.
Red meats. That's perfect. So we have sugar. I'm just going to write these off to the side. And red meat. Perfect. Red marker for red meat. Okay, and then this next one, this is going to be, you can eat it weekly, but maybe just not something that you eat every day. Y'all have an idea of what that might be?
Dairy.
Dairy's one of them that can be included in there.
Dairy, starches.
Fruits and vegetables we want a lot of. So this one's going to be more of our chicken and eggs. So those are going to be in moderation. You can still eat them every week, but it's maybe not something that you want to eat every single day. So this one I'll go ahead and write poultry in here. Excuse my handwriting from the side. Okay, then this next one, this is what we're going to be eating in abundance. So can y'all think of what that would be? I know I've already heard it a couple times in other categories.
Starches.
Starches, so we're talking whole grains here, so that's something we really want to focus on. And then anything else? I heard you said it a moment ago. Our fruits and vegetables, so that's where we're going to get a lot of our antioxidants and vitamins. All of that will go in this big category right here. So that's what we're going to focus on. You'll also want your nuts and legumes in this category as well. So we're going to show you healthy fats along the way to substitute some of the ones we get in our current diet right now. In this bottom category, this is what we want in abundance. Can anyone think of what this is? You might want to think out of the box for this last one. And this is a huge part of the Mediterranean diet, but you might not want to think diet in your head.
Green fish.
Olive oil.
Oil.
Oil's great. Oil's going to be in the fruits and vegetables, and oil all fall within that category.
The third.
Water and wine, those are our drinking beverages for this one. Wine in moderation, a glass a day is what they say. But this last one is actually going to be exercise. Exercise and social activities. Because the Mediterranean diet, what's really cool about it is they don't just focus on what you're eating every day. They want you to be healthy inside out. So you have to have the social, even coming to something like this. You're here with your friends, we're meeting new people, trying new things. That's going to help build those neural pathways too. So that's a great thing about the Mediterranean diet is we're going to focus on all of the aspects of it. So that's something great to get started with. I'll go ahead and fill those in and then put it back up. But what we're going to start with today is Jennifer's going to touch on some healthy additives to our foods.
And one thing that I think about the Mediterranean diet is the lack of processed foods. So the other thing I always say is if your great-great-grandmother would not recognize it, do not eat it. If she knows it and has eaten it, you're good to go with these other guidelines. So
Sorry.
when I look at eating, I look at it through the lens of I want to make every bite I eat count as much as possible. I want to get as much nutrition bang for my buck as I can. A lot of the diet things that we're getting now, our foods are not containing as many nutrients as they used to. And so when I'm looking through the lens, trying to figure out what I want to eat, I think what is going to really pay my body back for building health. And so I've tried in the past couple of weeks, knowing that we were going to be doing this, to look through the lens that you might look at when you're doing your foods, and thought, okay, from my work and my career, what have I seen out there that might be useful for you to know and try? So as we're getting the program a little bit more started, I'm doing the odd program today of things that you can season and use in your house or take with you to the dining room, but I've got a little bit of an addition to that, to make each time you use a condiment a little healthier. So I was just going to try and introduce to you some new and novel ideas that can have a really powerful bang for your buck. And since it is novel approach, try to let you try a little bit of it before you buy it, because you may or may not like it. But I can tell you that when you hear about it, you'll be convinced that each thing I'm suggesting is very healthy, very nutritionally dense. Then after we finish, if there are things that you like and it seems worthwhile, I'm going to go to Memo and see if I can put on the line what I brought today until we run out. And you'll know it's there, you'll hopefully recognize it, and then also get a little sign so you'll remember why you might want it. But before I went through that conversation, wanted you to kind of get an idea for some of the things I was talking about and see if it was something you might like. And so this is the portion that I have been trying to figure out how to make it run smoothly. And we've kind of grown in numbers so I'm going to tell you a little bit about everything, and then we're going to do kind of, I think, pass some stuff around and let you put it on a plate. I think that might be better than having everybody come up. And that may take some finagling, but we'll make it work. So my first thing that I'm going to talk about is nutritional yeast. Have any of you tried it before?
What is it?
Nutritional yeast? Okay, so
Not
this is,
significantly. Not a lot.
huh?
Not a lot.
This is one of my favorite things. I love nutritional yeast. And when I was thinking about it, I thought this could be a great thing for our campus. One of the best ways I like to consume it is on popcorn. And when I go through our popcorn and I see our popcorn there, and then I see the artificial flavors that you've been handed to pour on it, I always think, oh, we can do better than that. So I thought nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is very nutrient dense. Doesn't hardly have any calories to it. It has a good supply of protein and all of your B vitamins. And if you're doing the Dr. Bredesen's protocol, he's been talking about how many of us after the age of 65 are low in B vitamins and recommending a supplement. This can be a way to get those B vitamins in your diet along with other vitamins and minerals. So hardly any calories to it, completely natural, healthier way to flavor your popcorn. I also like to use this on my vegetables, kind of sprinkled on. I like to use it in soup. It can kind of be like a little bit of a Parmesan cheese, loosely. And then it's great on popcorn and just sprinkling it on several different things. Why I brought it here today was in an effort to make your popcorn snack a little healthier. So I'm going to use the leftover, which I have in a bag. I've got to get a container that Memo will like and try and get it near the popcorn if you like it. So
Where do we buy it?
you have to buy it at the health food store,
Co-op.
any of them. Whole Foods, Ozark Natural Foods, or Green Grocers, but they are in the bulk section. And it is extremely cheap. I think I spent $5 for a big bag of it. It's not expensive at all. But what I want you to first think of is this an adaptation I can make? Do I like it on popcorn? So I've got it in popcorn. The popcorn does have a little bit more salt than I'd normally put on this because the salt came out really quick when I turned it over. And I've tried to fix that problem. But all that I have on this popcorn right here is olive oil because we're going to be talking about it after I go through this part, nutritional yeast, and what was supposed to be a little bit of salt. So I'm going to send these through 2 rounds, and then on the third one, I do have one that I didn't put any salt at all. So these 2 have salt that are starting out. First off, let's do it this way. You're going to want to keep a plate for sure, because we're going to pass more stuff. So take a plate, pass the plate.
Is that you can't gluten?
No, it's gluten-free.
It's not a milk product.
Not a milk product.
And it's great on top of spaghetti too. So if you have a red sauce sprinkled on top, that's why I said loosely Parmesan, but it still has a great flavor.
Oh, it does. I use it as a Parmesan replacement. And keep your plate and leave room on it. We're going to do a olive oil tasting and some other tastings here in a minute. Okay, does anybody want the salt-free? Okay, so if you'll pass this around. This one's salt-free.
Oh,
Okay, while that's going around, what do you think? Salt or more nutritional yeast? It's salt, it is a little bit of salt, olive oil, and then do nutritional yeast. Yes, so you are right now, as you're consuming this, are getting B vitamins, protein, nothing unhealthy going on that right now except for the little bit of salt. What do you think? Do you like it? Yeah, isn't it good?
In a minute. So this
Yeah,
is
salt-free.
This is the nutritional yeast and a little bit of salt.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next one while you're trying that. Is it okay? Okay, so from right here, also I can pass the container around if anybody'd like to look at it. Okay, I'll just send it around and it'll just kind of zigzag around. No, I buy it in bulk. I bought that. I refill that all the time. That's my refill.
Now this is.
Okay, so the next one, I know for many coffee drinkers not to mess with your coffee. But for people like me who need a little bit of sweetener or cream, and so much during my day I hear people say, well, what sweeteners are okay? I want you to start looking at every bit of your food, your condiments, your spices, everything, as a way to get some health benefits. One thing I really like is ground cinnamon, and I know Sarah does too because it was Sarah's idea to bring this one up. Ground cinnamon helps balance your blood sugar. It's known for that. 1/4 teaspoon is helpful for blood sugar. Most of us eating the standard American diet need help keeping our blood sugar balanced. One great way to get cinnamon in, if you're already putting a little bit of stuff in your coffee, consider putting cinnamon in it to sweeten it, because it will add a sweetness to it while also giving you a blood sugar balancer. So that was the reason for adding cinnamon. Has anybody ever put cinnamon in your coffee?
Yes.
It's good in hot chocolate too, and tea, yes.
Some with salt.
Like with sugar?
Yeah, you can put it. I mean, remember the days of putting it on your toast?
I put it in.
Or oatmeal? Yeah, or oatmeal. But don't forget that everything you choose to put on your plate is either building your health or it's detracting from your health. With adding something like cinnamon, you're building your health and you're building your blood sugar balancing support. Anything to add? inflammation, yay, thank you. It is very good for inflammation. So we're gonna have this sitting next to the coffee so that if you want to try it on your way out, you can make a little bit of coffee and try the cinnamon in it, about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna also ask Mimu if we can put this next to the coffees. And that way, when you go to get coffee, you have this as an option to season your coffee.
But they're so.
No, like when you go to the bistro. Bistro in the here.
Yeah.
There's 2 different kinds, but for blood sugar balancing, both types of cinnamon work.
What we get in the grocery store.
Yes, just like I have right now. These are okay
No, on the handout, you have the name.
for next week.
No.
Well, we'll bring a whole list next week of
Oh, okay, good.
everything we've
Good.
seen today.
For the yeast. Well,
Yes, of course.
So did you like the nutritional yeast?
Yes.
Anybody want to try it just by itself?
No.
Okay. I
Or
don't-
would you like some more? Would you have lots of
We have lots of bubbles.
Would you like any more?
Okay, so now I'm going to switch and I'm going to get more into the more oddball things that you can do. But another conversation that happens a lot while I'm here is how to reduce sodium. Who does not have that as a little bit of their goal? Who's not paying attention to sodium? So ways to make when you season your food salty, but also still get that nutrient density to it, was another lens that I looked for. And I stole a tradition from Japanese cooking for this. Has anybody heard of gomiso? Anybody? Gomiso, G-O-M-A-S-I-O. It is used as to salt, and it is salt. This is a mixture of toasted sesame seeds and salt. This became a very popular tradition because when you heat sesame seeds, it releases an oil that causes the taste of sodium to go further. So you're going to taste more salt with actually less sodium with the combination of sesame seeds with salt. It's got just a slight little nutty flavor. I find it very good. And it's very nutrient dense. In the sesame seed, you've got a lot of your vitamins, the fat-soluble vitamins, the A, D, E, and K, but it doesn't have K. I just am used to saying that at the end. And a lot of minerals. So this one's going to give you a lot of nutrients while also helping the sodium that's in this go further because it extends that taste because of the way that the heated sesame does. So it's got a pleasant nutty flavor. Traditionally, it's been used on rice, beans, and all vegetables to add a little bit of that nut. It also has a couple of ingredients that have been found to help you digest your foods better. So it helps with digestion, it gives you vitamins and minerals, and it helps your sodium go further so you don't have as much sodium in that serving, but it tastes about the same. To me, this is one of the things that I love to use at home. I keep it in an airtight jar, and then when I serve my food, I undo it and put a little spoon, and we spoon quite a bit on there, and it adds just a very pleasant flavor. Okay, so I'm going to pass this around, and you can either just kind of get your finger wet and just take a dab of it. You'll notice it tastes like salt, and you'll taste a little bit of the sodium to it too. What you could also do is put a spoonful in the corner of your plate, and when we go into the olive oil testing, right afterward, you could mix this with your olive oil and put it on your bread to get another way of tasting this. I just wanted to give a way for you to get a sense of it, but it's kind of hard to do because it is a salt. It's just toasted sesame seeds mixed with salt. Does it sound interesting to you? Okay, so I'm going to pass it around.
Did I sell that ball?
Okay, so yes, they sell it, and also you can make it real easy, but I don't think anybody's going to want to make it. We'll just skip that.
Could we put a spoon in that so we could just put it on there? It's got one.
Yes, oh, it's got one. Just take a little bit. Yeah, you don't even need, take about 1/4 teaspoon. You don't need very much. Okay, so while that's going around, I'm going to go to my next one. Anybody familiar with Dulce flakes? Seaweed, Dulce.
Spell it.
D-U-L-S-E. In lots of cultures, seaweed was always a big part of the diet because it's such a good way of getting iodine and so many minerals. And one of the best things about seaweed is that the minerals in seaweed are much more absorbable than most other forms. So it's a very absorbable form. You're going to get selenium, which is really, really good for fighting and for preventing cancer and many, many other things. You're going to get magnesium and calcium. Calcium's also very high in the sesame one, the gamiso we just passed around. So this Dulce flake has kind of a fishy, salty taste. It's a salt replacement as well. This one is much more nutrient dense. It's like a nutrient powerhouse, the Dulce flakes. It looks like, well, it's big and it's kind of, it looks like the seaweed. I mean, it's a seaweed. I'm passing this around because when you try it on your food, you can't really taste the fishy part, and you're adding so many minerals. 1/2 teaspoon's all you need to get all of those minerals really going. And so I thought, we can't skip the Dulce. No, because it's not like the algae with some of the omega-3s. But iodine, a very absorbable form.
Is it a Japanese type?
Well, they made it popular. They made it
Has
popular.
iodine in it?
Do these? Yes.
Do these have to go through the FDA?
Yes. These are, they're foods. They're not supplements. They're more stringent. So, because this is just different ways to add more nutrition to your food with a food. That's a great question.
Are any of them all the advantages destroyed when you cook with them?
No, none of these. So the way that you're trying them right now is the way that they're meant to be consumed in the most nutritious way. So I'm going to pass this out. The Dulce, I would have normally never said try Dulce just by itself because it's a seaweed. You normally have it, and when you put it on food, it carries the salt flavor and you don't notice the fish as much. It's a little more fishy just trying it by itself. So if you like it now, you're going to love it on your food. So I figured this was the taste test. Yeah, it's got a spoon. Okay, where we're talking about seaweed, a lot of documents say that we should be eating seaweed a couple times a week because of the nutrient density, the high levels of minerals that are very absorbable, and it's no longer really used in our culture. How many times have you used seaweed in your preparation of foods in your lifetime? No. You have. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. We're not sampling this one today. If you want, I know that there are a couple that I promised a little bit to, and I'm happy to share. This is called kombu. Anybody familiar with kombu?
I've heard of it.
It's a different type of seaweed. This is what it looks like on it. Anytime I cook beans, I put my kombu in it. Anytime I cook a soup, I put my kombu in it because it adds a ton of minerals to whatever you're cooking. You want to think of using this kind of like a bay leaf. When you're done cooking with it, you take it out. But you can cut this up and put it back. It's very tasty. It's got just a very dull flavor. Why I suggest this to you, I'm not suggesting you run out and start cooking a bunch of beans and homemade soups from scratch. But when you bring home a canned soup, you can add a little bit of this, like a 1 by 1 inch, into your soup, and it will give that soup a bunch of minerals. So this is great for using already in pre-made, pre-packaged soups, where sometimes you're wondering, how nutrient dense is this? You can add a little bit of kombu, and you're going to add more nutrition to that soup.
Now, how's it spelled?
KOMBU. I'll pass it around just so you can look at it, but don't try it.
Does it add more salt?
It does not add more salt, so it's minimal.
Are you gonna write all this down and?
Well, what I was gonna do was put it in signs next, not the kombu, I just threw that in, because when I went to get all of this, I also was getting my groceries, and I was buying my own kombu, and then I thought, oh, people might want to hear about this one too. So I just threw it in. But what we're gonna do, once we get permission from Memo to put this, then we'll have a little plaque with what it's about, so every time you go down the line, you can be like, oh, that's the gamiso, and it does this.
Are we getting a list of these when we leave?
Yeah.
I should have done that.
Well, next week.
Next week.
Make a whole list.
Next week. That last one was already passed around.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna, this is just a look so you know what the kombu looks like.
Oh, yeah, that's too easy. That's the whole seed version, but those are the little like the big ones.
The gamiso. Okay, so this is my last one that I have. And then Sarah's we're gonna do a olive oil taste test and some benefits about olive oil. Okay. So when you're looking at sodium, a lot of times if you're having Asian type of food, you're gonna have soy sauce. But you might consider coconut aminos or Bragg's liquid aminos. The coconut aminos, they are 73% less sodium per serving. So it's a way of getting a soy sauce flavoring without the sodium. And also it's a complete protein. So using the liquid aminos gives you a full protein and a lot of nutrients when you use it on your food, as instead of just the salt carrier. So you're going to get more nutrients from this.
Coconut flavor?
Coconut. It doesn't really have a coconut. It's a hint. It tastes like soy sauce, but just a back hint of a little bit of sweet. What I was going to say is put a little drop of this on your plate, and that way when you pass out the bread for the olive oil testing, you can put a little bit on and see how this tastes, because this is a really good way to get a soy sauce flavor without the sodium. Because if you're like me, I really like soy sauce, but if you're trying to keep that sodium down, it can be a challenge. So, any other things?
I will say, if you're worried about the coconut flavor at all, it doesn't have it. It's very sweet, it's great, and you can even do a great recipe to do with it. If y'all don't like rice, but have you tried cauliflower rice before? This could take the place of it. So you sprinkle a little bit on top of the cauliflower rice, mix it all together, throw in your veggies. Super simple, easy recipe to do.
It's a great idea.
So, figure out the challenge of getting the olive oil out.
We'll figure that out. So, here's this. Just put a little dab on a quarter of your plate and just hold it tight till you get the bread to try it. No. I'll double check. But my son and I are both gluten-free.
See, my dietitian said that's soy sauce.
No, it is gluten-free.
Soy sauce.
This is your replacement.
How do you spell it?
Oh, you'll see it. It's coconut amino.
A-M-I-N-O.
questions about any of the things? Did you like the samples? Does it seem like something you'd enjoy?
It's different.
We work with tribes.
No, those are serious.
One of us, we have a lot.
Okay, so I guess, do you want to start talking? And I'll start getting the bread out?
No.
And then kind of, we'll wing it on the next.
Okay, come let's say, trying each one.
I'm just going to pass a piece of bread.
But yeah, we'll be talking about olive oil a little bit more today. Does anyone use olive oil daily or weekly? Got a couple. Do you use it mainly to cook or to put on top?
Everything.
Everything? Okay, perfect. A little bit of everything. Well, a great thing about olive oil is it has a lot of benefits, which a lot of people talk about. Fats are a bad thing, but we need to be focusing on the good fats. And kind of what Jennifer was saying earlier, everything you put on your food, it's either going to be an additive or if you think of it as subtractive. So it's going to not have the health benefits that you want, but the healthy fats are monounsaturated fats, and olive oil is going to have a lot of.
Is there a difference in virgin olive oil and just?
That is what we're going to talk about. We're actually going to have y'all taste that. I have 4 different kinds of olive oil up here, and I want to see if you can taste the difference in the aroma. You can smell it a little bit before you try it, and then I'll tell you which one is which and which one are best for you, and then we'll talk about where you can get each one as well. But olive oil is rich. The monounsaturated fat that is oleic acid, and that has actually been found to help inflammation. So that's a huge part about it. Is a lot of people have inflammation joints, and a lot of people talk about rheumatoid arthritis as well. If anyone struggles with that, that is a huge help, is if you're consuming those healthy fats. It's a natural way to do it. And they've also shown that it can act, since it is the anti-inflammatory, it's just like if you took an ibuprofen, this is a more natural way to get it. As long as that's why the Mediterranean diet, you would have to follow it weekly, make sure you're consuming all of those healthy fats, whether it is from the olive oil or the nuts as well. Other than that, I mean, olive oil is very rich in antioxidants, and that's where you usually carry antioxidants with your fruits and vegetables, but don't let olive oil throw you away, because really all olive oil is, especially the good kind of olive oil, you're cold pressing olives, and that's what that juice, that oil is coming from. It should be straight from there. There shouldn't be too much processing done to it, because then that's when you're losing. As soon as, like when you guys think cooking, you lose a lot of the minerals and antioxidants in it. That's what happens when you process olive oil. That's why it's wide range of what they're trying to sell you. So that's what we're going to try to simplify that for y'all and give you the best tasting ones and the ones that are best for you. But it's also rich in vitamins E and K. And so those are going to be our fat-soluble vitamins. And so that means it has to be with the fat in order for you to digest it in your body. And so vitamin E, that's going to help with your immune responses. So that's a great one for any day. And then vitamin K, that's also going to be helping with blood clotting and also bone density as well. There's been studies on that. So it's an important way to get that in your diet, and it's not too much of a, you can just drizzle it. Like she said, it's already drizzled on top of the popcorn. You can cook with it. And then I also have a handout today, and you can see different cooking temperatures for each kind of olive oil, because some are better for cooking. And then other than that, they've also found that I don't want to say which olive oil is the best until, well, extra virgin olive oil, that's going to be your best. You won't know which one it is up here. Extra virgin olive oil, that's going to be your best. You always want to look for that on the label. If it just says olive oil, light olive oil, that's what you want to avoid. And so, as of now, we think that, so if it's a California-based olive oil, that's a good one. And as Jennifer was saying earlier, Australia actually, we don't know.
Save your bread till we do the tasting.
Until we do the tasting. We'll have, so you can dip your bread in it, and you can also dip in the aminos as well.
Some of the articles say that there's some uses for olive oil. You shouldn't try to see like deep fat fries. Are there certain things you can use?
So that's going to be based on the kind of olive oil it is. That's why sometimes they do have the processed olive oil, because they're better at higher heats for the frying per se. But just cooking a little bit in a pan, you're okay to get, if you're just cooking like sauteing vegetables or onions in the pan, the extra virgin olive oil will work just fine. for that. It's when you get to frying, that's when sometimes they say the process is better because it has that higher heat. It sustains that instead of breaking down. But they've also found that it also has antibacterial properties, which I thought was very interesting because what Jennifer and I hope to expand on is all about your gut health as well. And so they say the more that you consume these, they actually found properties to it that can help your gut microbiome, so it gets rid of the harmful bacteria that are in there. So it's really intriguing, but we're gonna, what do you think the best way would be to try it?
Okay, so.
I have a question. When you're talking about fats, I buy those kinds of, they're not margarine and they're not butter, but they're supposed to be better for you. Do you know anything about that? Is that, if I want to put it on a piece of toast, is that something that's okay? Or is it, it melts and I use it, but, so that would be, it'd be good to know about those because they sell them in the co-op and they sell them in other places and they come in those square boxes,
Are they like olive oil? They say they have olive oil?
Some of them say they have olive oil, some don't. They have maybe coconut, I don't know. But it'd be nice to know how good they are.
And they're the butter replacement kind of?
Yeah, it's in a box like that instead of a long piece, like you usually get.
Is it a tub of butter or a tub of
No,
the alternative?
it's a tub, but they're supposed to be better than butter or margarine, which is horrible. So I'd be interested in knowing, if what I'm buying is something that I should or shouldn't be using. I don't know.
I always say when it comes to margarine and butters, there are alternatives out there. It depends how processed they're going to be. That's definitely something you can look more into and discuss more. I would definitely say I'm not against butter, especially in moderation. I would prefer you use butter than margarine. So if you're putting a little bit of butter on your toast in the morning, as long as you're not plopping it on, that is still just another healthy fat.
What about organic?
So organic, that's a whole nother topic. Do you have any opinion on organic?